And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the ultimate Clan ESHIN scheme. So it's going to be my Skaven here in this FFA showdown, going with a mass stealth Clan ESHIN build. So let's go ahead and take a look at all of the armies. So you can see I'm not actually in my starting zone, nor are some of the other players as well. It looks like we do have a Vanguard down here in the tree line for the Beastmen, hiding most of their forces down in the recesses of this little forest here. But my glorious ESHIN horde, the most planned of schemes, is actually hiding here in the bottom backside of the map. So basically, I just wanted to make sure that my rats weren't discovered. And then from there, I could just kind of pick off the armies after they fight each other and try and farm points. You know, a true Skaven brave plan. Yes, yes. But little did I know, and this is pretty much how, you know, all Skaven plans go. There's one fatal error that pretty much keeps a Skaven from capturing a city or dominating a battle or carrying out their mission. Night Runners don't have stock. Who would have thought, man? So Gutter Runners do have stock. So Gutter Runners are the elite of the elite here. So these guys do have the stock mechanic. We can actually switch over here and you'll see it. But for some godforsaken reason, the Night Runners don't. So I did not know this. So basically, my entire sneaky Vanguard is actually visible. Now, of course, my opponent only sees a couple Night Runners, but I'm sure they can infer by the fact that most of my, none of my army is visible, that, you know, most of my force is down here. So what a disappointment that was. But Clan ESHIN will prevail, my friends. Fear not. So now for the Beastmen. Chaos Spawn, Butchers of Kalkengard. It looks like Morkur plus a Bray Shaman and a Cygor as well. So certainly a very mobile, you know, hard-hitting force. I mean, most of this army is pretty quick. The slowest thing being the Eye of Morsleep, which of course isn't a speedy boy. But yeah, for the rest of my army, I forgot to mention. So it's all Death Runners, ESHIN Triads. We got a bunch of Gutter Runners, Night Runners, and then we do also have an ESHIN Sorcerer and Deathmaster himself plus an Assassin. Now for the Lizards here, it looks like it's going to be a Skink Priest of Heavens, a Rev Crystal. We got some Powerfist Kroxigor's big boy Nakai coming in here for Nakai November, which I love. Saurus Warriors, an Ark of Sotek, and yeah, it looks like another Rev Crystal. So basically, if I fought this army head-to-head, I would have zero chance. Death Runners and ESHIN Triads, even though Triads are anti-large, are pretty god-awful against monsters, just kind of running them over and terror-routing them. So I really have to be careful, guys, to be, you know, a little bit sneaky, pick my fights, and try and get my points in a safe manner. So that's it for the Lizard army. And now for the forces of Michael Creed. He's got his battle line here of Sternsmen and Graveguard, Blood Knights, and this might be deja vu for some of you guys because this did take place on a stream, but it was such a funny FFA, I figured we had to cast it again. Hellman Gorst here. So looks like he was, I think he went into the chat and actually asked what they wanted to see, and Hellman Gorst was the man, the myth, the legend. So we'll see how that goes. Double Black Coach, certainly terrifying for my Skaven who have no mass. And that's pretty much it. Outer Region, of course, is our Beastman player, and he is going to be discovering my schemes very quickly. So immediately, I think I started to discover something was wrong when the first Cygor boulder came down the hill, because I think the Cygor immediately turns and starts firing here, and the Beastmen army is actually advancing down the hill. So I was like, oh god, the Beastmen are coming. And you see, I didn't know that the Beastmen didn't have infantry here, because all the Beastmen infantry corps is over here. So I just thought they had a bunch of stalking units nearby. So in retrospect, I probably should have rushed this Beastmen position. I think with my Triads and Death Runners, I could have done a good job here, but my army's super bunched up because I was hiding in the tree. So at this point, I'm just trying to fan out. I'm like, scurry, flee, yes, yes, scatter. I'm trying to basically get away from the Cygor boulders and make sure they don't do too much damage. But oh god, here it comes. And it looks like, yeah, just one rat just got pretty much sent to the warp right there, or to where does Skaven think they go after death? Is like the realm of the horned rat or something? I don't know, you guys would have to fill me in, but boulders keep on raiding, man, and all you can see is the Night Runners. Everything else should still be stalking and hidden right now, so none of this force is visible. But this is where things get really scary. Centaurs, even with throwing axes, are really good at riding down troops. They still have 27 melee attack, 30 plus weapon strength, and a pretty good charge bonus. So I did not want a wave of Centaurs plus Minotaurs and Spawn crushing into my forces. So pretty much at this point, it's mass fleeing time. I'm trying to decide if I want to flee through this little ravine right here, maybe try and get away from the Beastmen army. I wasn't sure. Nonetheless, Cygor Boulder's still doing huge work. I figured I could maybe get in there with my Night Runners and start getting some points, because even if you do hit a summon unit, you still get points. Now, on the other side of the battlefield, Outer Region, fighting on multiple fronts, you can see the Black Coaches of the Vampire Counts going to be sweeping in, but the Ungors were braced for the charges, so the Black Coaches may have a little bit of trouble getting through there. And now you can see the Centaurs with throwing axes, Minotaurs are going to be pulling over, and Centaurs with throwing axes should be okay against Black Coaches. Ample armor piercing, pretty good mobility, should be able to hunt those guys down and be pretty efficient. Now my Haggard Skaven Legion, you know, I felt pretty comfortable. I was like, alright, well the Beastmen are going to fight elsewhere, maybe I can flank them and get some points. But then suddenly, over the hill, just like the Rohirrim at Helm's Deep here, you can see the Bastillodon and the Lizardmen with their Powerfist Kroxigors are basically bull rushing me, and you can see these guys are not messing about. So I pretty much knew that if I stayed and fought here, I could potentially get pincered by the Beastmen. They might come back with their Centaurs. there's no way in hell I could deal with Bastillodons, wind blast being used to just blast my troops, or maybe Comet of Cassandora. It was just going to be a horrible fight all around because my army was not designed for a head-up fight. You know, I'm ESHIN, man. I'm looking for those sneaky grabs. So from here, we're just going to be in mass retreat, basically pulling back and using this little escape tunnel here that my Skaven have found, trying to get away from the advancing Lizardmen because it is not going to be a good, pretty fight. That is for sure. The Summon Cygor does go down, but currently Outer Region is in first place in the points by quite a lot. He has been able to do some decent damage to the Black Coaches, it looks like. I don't think he killed them, but his Cygor boulders have been racking him up some pretty solid points, and now the Beastmen are going to be fighting the Vampires, which actually is quite a hard fight for the Beastmen, typically speaking. Graveguard just massacre all these chaff infantry, but Spawn and Minotaurs are pretty good at cutting through Graveguard and things like that, especially if there's no Mortis Engine to really help them out and draining everything. Granted, Helman Gorse is here. He is a Mortis Engine, so just a little bit slower. So now there's going to be a wind spell going down. Oh, baby, the Winds of Death from Helman Gorse. Oh, the Dread Necromancer, look at that. Oh, that's a beauty right there. It goes through and hits some of his own troops, but still racks up 36 kills and does completely collapse the Beastmen formation here. So that was a pretty good spell. Now, in the meantime, I'm just running. Some of my forces were caught, so I sacrificed some decoys. Well, I guess it's not really a sacrifice since they're not a real asset, but I do use the ESHIN decoys to try and block the Lizardman army, and the rest of my rats are just fleeing. There's like chain lightnings and shit coming down, and I'm just trying to lead my people to safety here. But a couple of my gutter runners do get stuck a little bit behind, get separated from the rest of the pack, so sacrifices must be made, man. Now the rest of my army is moving up and behind. I figure I can like kind of sandwich this battle here and try and get some points there. I see some Graveguard coming down. I see, you know, some infantry that my Death Runners can kill. But this fight over here is pretty pitched for sure. It looks like the summon from the Beastmen has come out. Creed with another Winds of Death. Oh my god. It looks like that one kind of missed and maybe hit his own troops. I couldn't quite tell, but definitely a hero of the people. And here you can see Helman Gorst still alive, which is, you know, always a good sign. Although he's being attacked by Morkor the Shadowgave, and it looks like there's a spawn and also an Eye of Morsleep coming in. But here, Deathmaster plus my Skaven Assassin are going to be sprinting after some of these Graveguard, trying to farm some points. We also have the Vixren's Death Squad coming in. These guys should be exceptional at killing Graveguard. You can see on impact, he should do a lot of damage. I mean, massive anti-infantry, also armor sundering, putting him down to 45 armor, plus my 2 legendary lords. But this is where the Revenge of the Vampire counts comes in, and the problem with an all-ESHIN army is that happens. You basically lose, you know, 3 seconds of that Black Coach's time takes off like 20% HP off my units. And obviously terror routes, and I have no way of stopping the Black Coaches. I mean, because the Deathmaster Sigil cannot be used on Black Coaches, so it can only be used on characters and heroes and things like that. So yeah, pretty much screwed by those Black Coaches. I can't do a whole lot, but guys, we're holding up third place pretty good. But we'll see how long that lasts until the dreaded Lizardman army, of course, is very slow. It's going to be coming in to do their thing. And the Vampires are holding well. Helman Gorse is making a valiant last stand here with his Blood Knights and his Graveguard, but it looks like the Beastmen spawn Minotaurs and monsters were able to crumb through, and of course Helman Gorse is no Vampire Lord. He's not going to be able to kill the Beastmen characters and monsters very efficiently, so he's trying his heart out, man. But those Winds of Death, definitely very heroic. It did take away from his invocations and other important abilities, but it's, you know, in FFA it's about getting a little bit hog wild sometimes. And here we do use the Brittle Bones, which is a ESHIN spell to lower the speed and melee defense of this unit, and we're going to be hunting them down with the Assassins, trying to get what value I can. Currently the Black Coach is down to 59 speed, a little bit caught up in the tree, and I do also have the ESHIN Triads kind of shanking it and doing some good anti-large damage. But the rest of my rats, I decided to kind of hide back here a little bit. But then the Beastmen came, and then the Beastmen came, and then the Fire Nation came. Yeah, so the Beastmen here basically cleaning me up. Outer Region obviously has a huge mobile army, and he's doing a really good job fighting on 2 fronts. Like, he's fighting the Vampires up here, but also is harassing me with this Minotaur train with Centaurs, and so I just try and hide. I'm basically like, alright guys, this isn't going well. Let's use our concealment bombs and just hide back in the trees and come back to stab later. Yes, that was kind of the plan here. So we're getting through Graveguard, we're getting some decent points, but currently Outer Region is in a very, very dominant position here as the Haggard Skaven continue to try and fight. Looks like a Vile Tide going down there, nuking my troops even further. So we did, I think, almost kill 1 Black Coach. Yeah, it's very, very low here. And the Graveguard here are getting cut to pieces by the Assassins, so the ESHIN Triads plus the Death Runners working together to take down these troops, which is cool. And now the Rats are going to be going up on the high ground, and we're going in to try and get Helman Gorse, trying to get those sweet points. So basically, my 2 Assassins, it looks like Deathmaster is able to take out Helman Gorse, which is awesome. And that gives us a fair amount of points. It puts us up over 3,000. Although, man, Outer Region is just farming the points. Yes, his army may be more or less off the table here, but he still has still a fair amount actually. So we use the Deathmaster Sigil, trying to get rid of his caster while we can. Oh, okay, he did not lose a lot of his army. Oh, here comes the Centaurs. Oh god, the Deathmaster and the other Assassin. You know, they came out of the trees, man. That's very Beastmen-like. I actually thought, it was like, oh, I could kill this guy and just run this direction, but then I get surrounded by Centaurs, and guys, oh my god, there's going to be a Comet of Cassandora coming in. Oh, the Lizardman Lord. Let there be a comet to purge the Skaven and Beastmen filth from the old world. Oh, look at the damage. And, you know, just like the cinematic, it looks like it actually... It looked like it actually killed Deathmaster, even though he died to the Eye of Morsleep. Let's just say that Deathmaster got flattened by the Comet of Cassandora there. I think that would be quite a bit of fun for everyone. So, guys, it's looking pretty grim for the old Skaven. My ESHIN Sorcerer may live. The Centaurs took a ton of damage there from that beautiful, beautiful cast there from that Skink Priest of Heavens. Really well played. And now Nakai's coming in. He's thick, he's pissed. And, you know, Nakai is certainly someone who can beat the brakes off a Black Coach. And I did use Brittle Bones on it to help the glorious Nakai try and complete this task for the Skaven under Empire, mind you. But, you know, the ends justify the means here. So Morker pimp slapping my little ESHIN Sorcerer. Going to be trying to get away from him. And as far as my army goes, I have a janky resistance force here of Night Runners and other Night Runners, and it looks like a couple ESHIN Triads and maybe some Death Runners in the tree lines. I'm like, let's see where we can get some points, man. Let's try it. Let's do our best here. But man, it's funny how like that one Night Runners not having Sock made my army visible, and I wasn't able to get like proper ambushes. Like just such a Skaven screw up, man. That's so funny. I have more sleeps now in battle, but there's a ton of Sora Spears. Granted, the Lizardmen are now in a battle on two fronts. I am the holding last place with much Skaven pride. We're trying our best here to kind of keep it going. In the meantime, the Death Runners are getting some good value against Osiris, getting a couple kills here and there, but the Powerfix Croxawars have something to say about that, and they're going to be taking these Skaven to Pound Town. It's pretty funny, actually. That always reminds me. Whenever I say Pound Town, so when I was in the UK, there was a chain of stores called, I think, Poundland. Yeah, I think it's not Pound Town, it's Pound Land. It's kind of like in America, we have like the dollar store, and I think it's kind of the similar version over there in the UK. So every time Italian Spartacus and I would walk past it, I'm like, dude, bro, you want me to take you to Poundland? Oh, man, it just got me laughing every time. But anyways, the Black Coach over here is going to be running through these Triads, and here comes the Black Coach once again. Just decimating my armies until the late game. But, you know, I still have a fair amount of ammo, and the little ESHIN Sorcerer up on the high ground has survived. You can see the triumphant Skaven Warlord, you know, taking over Deathmaster Snakeage's position, I suppose. A Snakeage? I don't even know how you say that guy's name. It's always so confusing. The Black Coach, negative 24. My one goal here is to get vengeance on this dreaded Black Coach, and will we succeed? I don't know. Because Creed, even beyond his army's death, is still terrorizing me with his Black Coach, as he did the entire game. And, hey, he's in a rock hard second place. I mean, doesn't look like the Vampire Counts are going to get the last man standing here, as the Black Coach will go down, and that is the end of the Vampire Counts. But he's so far ahead of me, I don't think there's any chance I can catch him. Maybe so. Maybe. Now, in the meantime, Outer Region and his Beastman Legion are just using their ammunition on throwing axes, which is doing good damage. Some of the swords are broken up, and now it looks like your boy Nakai going to be flying in there and going after Morker the Shadowgave. Should be able to slap him up pretty good. Big angry. Oh, look at the big roar. Oh, and he just... That's like one of my favorite animations in the game. When Nakai like tosses the weapon to his offhand and just like punches something, just like punching Morker in the face is such a funny image for sure. But it's funny when he actually kills something with that punch. Yeah, but anyways, Nakai, just an absolute G, man. So look at Nakai November being represented here. I love it. Morker the Shadowgave, a little bit afflicted by despair here. And now Nakai and the boys should be able to finish him off, no problem. But the Skaven are back with a vengeance. We've surrounded this lizard army, at least in their eyes, or in our eyes. And now we're going to be trying to poke a little bit, get some points where we can. But honestly, like against a wall of Saurus, I mean, look at my shit infantry here. I have like a couple ESHIN Triads. I'm like, all right, let's fight, I guess, and see how this goes. And I was trying to use my Ninja Stars here with my ESHIN Triad to get like some points here and there and like pick off characters. I was trying to actually take out that Bray Shaman, but do a little bit of fast forwarding as much of this is Skaven Benny healing. So the Lizardmen army is definitely being pulled apart between us. Eye of Morsleep is still back there throwing boulders, although it's very, very low, and it's getting some good damage for sure. But Outer Region just pulling into a massive lead here, and I don't think anybody's going to be able to catch him. And I have to say, big props to him, man. Beastmen are, in my experience, a very hard faction to win in FFA, but, you know, I suppose they have the mobility, they have some good hit and run, which, you know, is one of the most important elements of FFA. So I suppose in the right hands, and I know Outer Region is one of the few Beastmen. I don't know if Outer Region, if you're watching this, do you consider yourself a Beastman main? I've pretty much, when I've been doing faction wars, I ask around, I'm like, hey, who are Beastmen players? Who considers himself a Beastman main? And there's like literally like 2 people, and Outer Region's one of them, and I think there's like one other person who might like main Beastmen. It's very, very uncommon for sure. But nonetheless, guys, Lizards are able to break the Beastmen army there, and you can see ammunition's running very sparse. So this is going to be it, the final battle for the fate here of last place is the Skaven attempt to pass the Lizardmen, but it is not going to go well, as Nakai and the boys are just going to run in here, and you can see my brave Skaven, of course, trying their best, but not much that ESHIN units can do without the help of Clan Molder. Clan Molder, you need those Rat Ogres and those Hell Pits, and with those units you can definitely fight these big monsters. But in this case, my rats are just going to get shreked, and even the snakes are going to be launched from the Ark of Sotek, and that is going to be it. My Skaven pretty much on death's bed here, trying to get some damage here against this Rev Crystal and maybe get this thing down using my ESHIN Sorcerer, but he's also poisoned and very, very low himself, and just going to be running for the hills. Beastmen being buckled by the Saurus on the far side. Now that they're out of ammo, they can only do so much against Saurus Infantry, and now just witness as my Skaven get run down and punished. Well played, man. That was a super fun FFA, so we'll see the final score here in a minute once Outer Regions Beastmen are crumped here on the far side. Looks like shaken and stirred as those guys are running, and that will be a valiant defeat, mind you, for the Skaven. We were holding up that last place spot, keeping it warm with Clan ESHIN, but I think that was one of the most Skaven FFAs ever. You have a great scheme, you're going to ambush, you're going to get a ton of points, and then suddenly you're discovered and everything falls apart, which is how that went, and it was quite a bit of fun. Well played Outer Region and his Beastmen. Nakai November, always awesome, and Creed, a hero of the people, using Helm and Gorse with Winds of Death. I mean, you can't complain about that. Come on, guys. That's quite a treat. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this FFA. I certainly did. And I have another FFA, which was quite a bit of fun. That'll be coming up in the next couple days. It was a Mass War Wagon FFA, which was pretty epic as well from the same stream. All right, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. We'll see you on the other side, and you guys take care.